here's what I want to talk about. We talked
What
about
are we going to
this.
concentrate about, though? Like, where are they going to, you know? I'm like, imagine an American concentration camp. You know, they have them in China. They have over 1 million Muslims in concentration camps in
Dude,
China.
I seen that video of them marching all those motherfuckers
Well, they're
down
calling
there.
because they're calling them relearning camps.
Relearning camps.
Am I going to have to relearn my liberal values?
Yeah, that's like sending the
Sure,
gays
I
to
mean-
gay camp and like stop being gay. You know what I mean? Like, nah, dude, that's not how it works. All right, switching gears.
But is it?
So
I don't know. This is pretty. It's hard to switch gears from this one. It's like it's a tight one.
I want.
Well, no. This
okay,
this is a question. What if in this like doomsday scenario, who is gonna stand up? Like, who's gonna do something about it? Yeah. Because like you said, military personnel who are either deployed or retired or whatever. Who is basically, on the conservative side, and I guess identify as a moderate because there's things I don't like about both.
Moderate, yeah.
However, I'm not okay. I am so vehemently against totalitarian control, and I don't like communism.
Yep.
You could call it socialism, but I'm too educated. I know too much. It's just communism.
Yep.
You're talking about communism. You're talking about technocracy and aristocracy and totalitarian globalized control, and that's the conspiracy theory. Like the news is like, it's a conspiracy. I'm like, everything has been a conspiracy theory until it comes out and you're like, oh yeah. Who is gonna stand up and say, no, we're not having it?
I will.
Yeah, I think it's when it comes house to house.
Well, I think, and here's my point of view is like, I would love to be the one that leads the thing. I get put in cuffs. I go away for a long time. I'm a felon.
We're all gonna, but that's
it's
what
different
we're
for
getting
somebody.
faced
But
with.
it's different if it were Matt to do it or I, right? Where I'm sadly not willing to take that. But if there was an uprising or whatever, I no longer consider myself a felon. I am a goddamn veteran. 11 Bravo for life.
Well,
And
at that
like,
point, you go into survival mode.
And if that happens,
laws-
I know plenty of people that I'm going to reach out to
But the
to
law
do the right
doesn't-
thing
the
as an
law
American
is-
and not go be a criminal and do this fucking Antifa shit at fucking the Capitol.
You know what they did with Chaz? I mean, they didn't do anything.
Yeah, they just
So
left it.
we'll take what's ours. This is
Yeah.
America, and like
The,
we'll
that's
fight for it.
that's the thing too, is that like within our community, like guys we know, dude, it's too it's too easy. Like I mean, literally. And I
And
said
you've
that.
seen
Well, I
what
said
happened in Huntington. Antifa came down there, and Tito Ortiz like banded up. They rolled up everybody, and they just stood in front of the cops, and they're like, "No,
well, somebody asked
we're
me
like,
this.
we're not having it. You can protest, but we're not. You're not going to destroy our city."
Yeah,
You're
somebody
not
asked me on the
destroying
podcast, man. I actually had a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, bro, you might not want to say that shit on air," and I was like, "I don't care," but I told him, I was like, "Dude, I would be the warlord of East Lawrence if they came like seriously." For my 6 blocks, I would control 6 blocks.
But I feel like who is the one that's, I don't want to say Martin Luther King, but who is the one that has the voice enough?
The people.
Right. Like you saw this guy, people been sharing it, the guy that went to his city hall, and he's like, we're being peaceful right now. But I promise you, if you keep going down this route, like we are not going to be out there holding signs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, and again, that's cool to say that, but can you get more than 1, 2, 3? Like, I mean, it takes who's going to break that barrier where people go fucking A and do it.
Well, I mean, the government has lost law enforcement's faith.
I know. But can law enforcement join the people? Because
yeah,
I've
but
been seeing a little bit of yes
if you're
and
talking
no.
if you're talking doomsday, yeah, 100%, they would have to. If you're talking absolute make or break situation, then yes.
But now what happens is we, the people in the law enforcement, band together and they dispatch the fucking army. And now here's guys that
They wouldn't. It'd be a
and
lot.
I followed the regular
hopefully
army.
we
It'd be
can
a
pull
lot
them
of
in
court
too,
martials. It'd
right?
be a lot of page 11s handed out.
Right.
They'll have that shit
I
printed out in
followed
the
the
back of the
regular
7
army, dude. They can come get it.
Yeah.
They can come
Right.
get it. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not.
but that's.
like,
I mean, I think that's what the pull is. I think that the Democrats want the power of the military because the military wants whoever the president is, the commander in chief. They, that's the only pushback.
Can Trump, like, before going out of office, just like, it's like, can you do like, like the last day before you graduate high school, and it's like, let me just be a complete motherfucker because I'm already graduating.
Well,
Can
yeah,
a president
they
just go like,
pardon people.
I got a week left. Let's hit some buttons.
What
Well,
they did in
pardon
Port-
people. I mean,
Yeah, what they did in what Trump did in Portland was sending the marshals out.
Right. Tell me about that when
Dude,
you went through there with a GoPro and shit.
So I went through with a GoPro, and they raised absolute hell.
The marshals.
Yeah.
Right. Because marshals are not pulling you over for a speeding ticket, by the way. They have a mission objective.
They're snatching people in vans, bro.
And that wasn't a joke. I don't know. Someone was saying that was a.
No, that was real.
No, that was real.
Yeah, someone was on Instagram like, "There's no way they're actually doing that." I was like, "It's."
Oh yeah.
First of all, it wasn't a van. They had black Tahoes.
Yeah.
And the top of the window was tinted. The bottom window was tinted. It was like some fucking Sicario shit.
But the thing is, though, is that
That
you,
makes me happy.
yeah, you play
but
stu-
so
play
they were
stupid
they
games,
were
moves,
I mean they were
drivers.
hanging out for the most part. I was talking to one marshal. He was from Texas. They set him up, and they're just they were protecting the Justice Center, not making any noise. Someone would piss in a bottle and throw it at him with no cap. The police department or the state troopers would have to sustain that and keep their bearing. The marshals were like, nah.
We got a different ROE, buddy.
Came from over there, fucking send 3. The van would come up, snatch them up, and they were gone. And then people were like, what the fuck just happened? Well, that idiot just technically assaulted a federal agent.
Right.
You had that shit coming. You guys got your skateboards. They've got fucking AR-15s. How do you want to? Which way do you guys want to go?
But
with
here's
this?
the thing: is like
I have a very dark outlook on a lot of these people, and
being.
I can imagine. Being look, if this stuff goes sideways and these Antifa people, what are you gonna do when you run into somebody who all they've been thinking about doing is murdering all of you?
Dude,
In any way, there are so what they don't realize is
Better be good with that skateboard,
all their
son.
behavior and all this shit that has happened all you've done is you have activated enemies, sleeping enemies. There are sleepers they are just waiting, and all they want to do is extinguish you.
That's how we're
because your
built.
psychology is so dangerous to democracy, and you have become such a tool and a pawn that the only way for us to take control of the country again is for you to be dead. And that's all of you, your friends, your family. And there are people who are not well. What are they going to do when the next Vegas shooter is targeting an Antifa or a BLM rally? Well, who you're going to call the cops? Well, imagine if the cops didn't respond to the Vegas shooting.
The cops you defunded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the cops that have stopped responding
Yeah.
in Austin, unless it's a murder.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing. So now in Portland, right, they get a call on the marshals. What does it take to not have to call on the marshals so that the police are already prepared for that? In other words, what's the SOP for law enforcement, which is standard operating procedure?
So you can probably hit this one, Matt.
So, like when we talked about this yesterday, when we go through the military, I get 16 weeks of boot camp. I got basic combat training. Then I get AIT. Then I got it's range, this, all these things before I am sent overseas. How much is going into law enforcement training, and what should be the standard?
Not enough. Bottom line, California, I think, has some of the best trained police officers. So we have a 6-month mandatory academy. Post standard. That's the California standard, 6 months. But you go to some of these other states, and there's 6-week academies.
And how much of that is on a range, live fire, moving around, targets popping up into a house?
10%.
Wow.
10%. The rest is learning laws. The rest is, all the dumb stuff. I got to know my laws, I got to know my policies and stuff like that. But what's gonna keep cops safe out there and keep the public safe out there is my motto. Like training, fighting, shooting, live, fight, shoot. If you have fat cops out there and they get in a fight with a guy like you or you, and you're beating their ass, now they have to go to their gun because they're getting their ass kicked. Or they could be a fucking stud who trains, who takes pride in their job, who takes pride in looking the part, that can handle themselves. I'm a force instructor. I teach guys how to take dudes down and get them in handcuffs.
Right.
I train
And
jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai.
What's it called that you do? The
force instructor.
Force
Use
instructor.
of force instructor.
right, and now that's mandatory for where you are, correct?
Yeah. we
And
have to
how
do
long?
training.
How long do they go through that?
So I went through a 5-week use of force instructor school, and to get in there, I had to have some martial arts background because I take pride in being hard to kill, being able to make it home to my family every night.
Yeah.
I'll do everything I possibly can, and that's why I train so hard. But normal guys,
But when
in the
you
academy,
put these guys through, how long? Are they
in
going
the
through
academy, you probably do like an hour of force instruction a day. In California, I don't know what some of these other places are like.
Probably
I
not
would
at
say
all.
that that's not the standard.
Yeah.
And is
I
that the
think it
standard
ch- I
throughout
think
California,
it
or is it
changed
by
in-
county?
Yeah, it changed in the state after Rodney King, I believe. Right?
Yeah,
in
it's throughout
1992,
California. Yeah, there was a lot of reform done around that time.
Well, yeah. And
Because I feel like, and we talked about this, like if I lived in a town, I mean, granted, LA is a big area, but if I had a place that had 12 cops like you, as opposed to a force of 70 that are ill-trained, scared under pressure, don't know what to do, and maybe could fucking shoot me or beat me for no reason, or take this role of power because, you know, those people that I got power now because I was bullied when I was a kid, and this, you know, look at Newsom, right?
It's
I
like
can get the power to do whatever the fuck I
Zootopia.
want, you know?
It's
So
like-
how do we set that of like, if you, I mean, to me, it's like, it's not defund the police, it's put whatever money maybe is going into this, put into more fucking range time, or like live scenarios. Not I went to a range and fucking me and Joe are fucking just drinking water and
Force
shooting
on
at a
force
target.
training.
Go through and shit's popping up, and this is a real nice scenario, and it's a fucking woman and a man. I have a decision to make.
Well, and the thing is too is like to what Matt's talking about too. You know, we've talked about this several times about where we both have Brazilian jiu-jitsu backgrounds, right? And that's super important. The problem is you have a lot of cops who get through academy and go through fresh off the streets, and they've never even been punched in the face before.
And now they got to go.
You know, the first time you ever got hit in the face, and you're like,
I work with guys that have never been in a fight.
What the
like
fuck
you know,
just
yeah,
happened
yeah,
here?
work with dudes, and you get hit, you're like, God, whoa, what the, wow.
I remember this kid blasted
Yeah,
me,
like,
and I had an
why?
iced tea,
You know?
and my knee hit the ground, and I'm watching my iced tea fly down the street,
Yeah.
and I'm like, why is my iced
Iced
tea
tea, yeah.
flying down the street? And I'm like, oh my
got
god, this
punched
kid
in the
just
face.
fucking blasted
So-
me in the mouth.
You got that, and then I mean, multiply that by the first time you get fucking shot at, dude. And you've never been in a fight.
Little
The
caca.
first thing you're going to
Little
do is
poo.
reach for a gun, man. And you don't have the mentality. Whereas I tell people all the time, if you're talking about my number one thing when I tell guys who are going through selection, man, go do judo, go do jujitsu for a while, because being under pressure, having a grown ass man put me on top of you and try to get out.
Right.
You're not going to.
Right.
You're not.
And then panic.
Yeah, you're going to panic. You're going to panic, but you get comfortable doing that to where jujitsu is fun. Then when you got a 250-pound crackhead on you, you're like, yeah, it's gonna be all right, man. I'm about to triangle the shit out this dude. You need that training.
But
And
I think
an
that's the
hour a day-
issue with just, here's your badge, you graduated.
right.
You know, they need to increase education.
Well, I think they also don't want to educate. You know, we had our first episode. We had Lieutenant Heineman from the Santa Monica PD, and he was talking about it. It was like there's a certain level. They want a certain number of bodies, and they don't want to deal with people questioning and pushback. I mean, what's your experience with that? I mean, do you feel like that's accurate?
No, we have a cap on how many officers we can have, like for sure, and we have a budget, and that's decided by the city manager in the city. When it comes down to it, they're the ones, local city managers and local council members are responsible for determining our budget. And I think there should be more on education, more on training, more standards when it comes to physical fitness. You should not be allowed to be a fat cop. And if you're injured,
Yeah.
you should retire out.
I mean, firefighters are like, dude, they gotta, the firefighter training just to, you gotta carry a sack up like, whatever flight of stairs and the hoses and all that shit.
I just, I
Be able to
mean, when
carry you out of a backyard out to the street to an ambulance
Right.
if you get shot after I just suppress the enemy.
right, and
If
not
I
have
can't-
to go, hey, we
I
got to
can't
call
pick you
in.
up, yeah.
Thomas is the only guy that come in and lift this guy up.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's the thing too. Why Matt's motto and what he's putting out with all his new stuff coming out, the live, fight, shoot kind of thing going on, right? Or live, train, shoot. It's you when you're looking at it, a cop, man, a police officer, he takes out of his own time. The department's not paying him to get up every fucking morning and do what he does, and they're not paying him to go on shift. This dude was the other day. He was like, "Oh man, like I've been up since like 5 a.m. I'm about to go in for a night shift." And guess what? He got off the next day and went to a workout. That's his prerogative. But if you're going to take a badge and shield, and you're going to put that on, then you need to make that your prerogative as well.
But that goes back to the same thing of what is the level of a man's success, and yours obviously differs from others.
The other thing
Sadly.
is that I don't feel like there's a lot of incentive for people of that you are at a certain level of excellence when it comes to your training, your experience, all these things that come into play, like your character. Most people of that level of excellence are not interested in being in law enforcement because of several reasons. It doesn't pay enough,
Right.
and it's not a cool job anymore. You know what I mean? Like the media over the past 6-7 years, as well as a couple of incidences with bad cops, with people who should not, the same people I'm talking about, who should not have been allowed to be police officers, have made blue is the new racism. It's like it's socially acceptable to be racist against cops, but it's a job. They're civil. They're public servants. You know what I mean? They're there to serve and protect the community. So, it's kind of as idiotic as saying, well, this cop did this, so they're all bad. It's just like, well, this person did this, so all Chinese people are bad, or he did that, and then so all Jewish people are bad. It's like
that's why I make fun of that ACAB thing so much. I think that's the funniest shit in the world because I didn't know what that meant when I first saw it spray painted. I was like ACAB. I was like, and then I found out what it meant, and I was like, that's dumb as shit.
Dude, I said that to somebody. I was like,
dumb.
I was like, if all cops are bad or bastards, then all African Americans are criminals. And this girl was like, that's not the same. And I was like, bro,
it kind of is.
That's kind of believable, though.
Tell me how it isn't the same.
I just don't understand too why some guys don't do everything they can to live up to what I think are my values. You saw me with my son. You saw how I look at him. Like that is my main purpose every night is to get back to my son, kiss him on the forehead, and tell him good night.